change gears here. So did we find out who was naughty and who was nice this year? Is there any of us that are running on swap, couple shoes, pants that fit good a couple days ago? I'm not quite thinking good now. About 6 hours sleep the last 2 days. Tongue hanging out the wallet. So, I have a mother-in-law or family member contemplating the pros and cons of wearing a jumpsuit, getting an extended stay at a rehabilitation center. You know, sometimes it's rough in the holidays, but I shared a message, a few months ago, just about a story that happened recently in my life and my family's life. Just really felt God wanted me to share that again. And we moved down here a little over 9 years ago. Moved down here to this area so we can get our kids in school. Thanks to like a lot of us that have kids that have moved down here for that purpose. We bought the place across the road and didn't give much for it. And I worked hard, saved my money for a year. Worked on it after hours and things, and it took us about a year to get it fixed up and level one, and where we could live there, and then we moved here. First of all, I want to say that several years later, we went through a big deal with losing our son Colton. And I'll tell you, I can do it without getting choked up. The love and the humbleness and the servant that this church showed us during that time, you'll never understand the impact that it had on not only my life, but my family's life. And for that, I just want to say I thank each and every one of those that reached out to us during that time. So I just want to put that out there. But we moved down here, and I knew, that was just a place, that God blessed us with, but just somewhere temporary, that wasn't the place I would live for the rest of my life. And so we started searching, for whatever it was, and I told Cricket, I said, we're going to pray for God's will to be done. We're going to pray that wherever He wants us to live will be the only door He'll open, and that He'll close any and all other doors to any prospects of any house or land or whatever it may be that we looked at or thought that we wanted or thought that was His will. And so we prayed that for 9 years, consistently. And I have some verses that I kind of looked at and leaned on in that 9-year period. So in John chapter 15, verse 7, it says, "If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you." Then in James chapter 4, verse 3, says, "When you ask, do not receive. You do not receive because you ask with wrong motives, that you may spend what you get on your pleasure." Then in Matthew chapter 7, verse 7, it says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you." Then in John chapter 15, verse 16, it says, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so that you might go and bear fruit, that it will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you." And that was just some of the verses that I kind of leaned on during that time to try to depend on God to make that decision for us and make sure that we were in His will. And I didn't do a very good job of it. just to be honest with you, there were sometimes I looked at a property and I said, man, that's it. And I didn't pray about it. I didn't ask God, is this what you want for my life? Is this where you want my family to be? Is this what you want for us? Sometimes I'd push it, and say, yeah, but he would close that door. Even though sometimes I kind of didn't even want to close that door. Because I was ready for the next step, but it wasn't his will. And thankfully, he closed doors when he wanted to. And thankfully that, I tried to refocus and keep him in the forefront of that. And I think during that time, he also wanted to teach me patience. A lot of times, he wants to teach us patience. But before that, with the prayer, if you read that, a lot of that people look at that and they say, well, you ask and it's going to be done for you. But, if you're not really in God's will, if you're not seeking His will in your life, and you're not in His will, sometimes we ask for the wrong thing with the wrong motive. So just because it says you ask and you will receive, I don't think that is wholeheartedly as far as what it says, because I think that is pertaining to His will in our life. So, but also he taught me patience. So I have some verses on patience that I kind of leaned on during that time and kind of tried to stay focused on. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap the harvest if we do not give up." And then in Romans 8:25, it says, "But if we hope for what we do not have, we wait for it patiently." And in Psalms 37, verse 7, it says, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes." And so that just teaches us patience that, we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what's best for our life. We don't know God's will until He reveals that to us in His timing and what He wants. So I tried, even though sometimes I messed up and, I wanted to, I'd say, well, I want a big chunk of property and build a farm. Then I get tired because I couldn't find no property to even go look at, much less try to want to buy, even decide, figure out if that's what I wanted or not. I couldn't even find nothing to look at. So I still figured, I said, we just going to buy a lot and build a lake house. I'm not going to be able to buy a farm down here. I'm not going to be able to buy land. It's just not going to happen. We've been looking for 6-8 years or whatever it was at the time, and we're not going to be able to do it. So I'm just going to buy a lake house. I'm going to buy a lot. There's 30 of them for sale down here. I'm going to buy one. I'm going to build a lake house. I'm just going to live on the river and be happy. But, then I turn around and I pray for God to close the doors that wasn't His will, and then only open that door that was, and He would do that, even though it wasn't what I wanted, and thankfully He did, So through all that, after 9 years, a little over 9 years of patience and prayer and wanting God's will in my life and wanting Him to make the decision, that of where we would live, for a long period of time. He made that come true, but it's crazy, sometimes, just the way God works is, He tests us to see, are you really dependent on Him? Do you really mean what you say when you pray that you want Him to make that decision, to be in His will, for Him to show you what He wants for you? So we had a piece of property down here in Talladega Springs come available, 25 acres on Lay Lake with a double wide trailer on it. And I said, "Hot dog, son, this is God's will." I said, I wanted a farm, this is it. I wanted a farm. I wanted a lake house. I was back and forth between the two for 9 years of my life. This is God's will. This is it. It's done. I'm through. I don't have to pray no more. God has answered my prayer. And for 3 months, I begged this woman to take my money. I said, here, look, I'll give you earnest money. I'll sign a contract. You said, well, I want three months to move. Look, I'll sign a contract to you. You got 6 months to move. I don't care. Just take my earnest money so I know that it's mine. And I can buy this property and you're not going to sell it to nobody else. Nobody's going to come in and offer more money for it and buy it out from under me or none of that. That this is locked in and it's mine. And for 3 months, she wouldn't do that. She said, well, I'm not in a hurry. It's no big deal, but it's yours. Don't worry. I'll sell it to you. But that wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to lock it in, And she just never would. So we come to church back, I guess, whenever, September, October. We came to church one Sunday morning. At church, we went home. I sat around the house trying to figure out what we were going to eat and stuff, or lunch. And I scrolled through Realtor.com, which I do every day of my life for 9 years, and scrolling through, and I seen this log house and 8 acres for sale. I said, that's pretty cool. I said, I told my daddy when I was 5 or 6 years old, I said, I'm not getting married till I got a log house and 100 acres. Because I know when I get married and have kids, there ain't no way I'm going to have enough money to buy that. So I'm going to buy it before I get married and have kids, then I got it. Well, then I growed up and worked for them all my life and worked my tail off, in maintenance and manual labor. And I figured out how much it cost to buy a log house in 100 acres. I figured out, I'd be a lonely old man if I waited till I had enough money to buy it before I got married and had kids, because it wasn't going to happen. So, my 5, 6-year-old idea didn't play out once I got old enough to figure out what sacrifice it took to do that. And, but anyway, so I said, that's a nice house, but I kind of let it go. I didn't say anything. So then I was fiddling around a little while longer, and I went across that ad again. I said, well, I'm going to send it to Cricket and Daddy and see what they think. So I sent it to them. But I'm sorry, back up before that. So the woman that had it, Kristen, had the house. She come in our office in Julesburg at the storage unit and said, I need to rent a storage unit. And so my wife said, okay. Said, we'll rent one. So she rented a storage unit. She said, yeah, I'm selling my house. She said, where's it at? She said, well, it's down here in Bethel, where Beaver took supply. She said, oh, okay. She said, yes, a log house in 8 acres. She said, well, let us know, when you get ready to sell it. She said, we'll come look at it. We might be interested. She said, my husband's looking at a piece of property now on the river, but said we might come look at it. So, a week or so later, sure enough, she called and said, I'm ready to sell it. Said, y'all come look at it? She said, no. I said, my husband's really hung up on that 25 acres on the river. Said, we're probably going to buy it. She said, okay, well, I told you I called you before I listed it, but I'll go ahead and list it. So she listed it on the market. And then I saw it, and I sent that ad to Cricket. Daddy Cricket come in there. She said, man, when you go look at that? I said, I don't know. I said, I want that 25 acres down on the river. I said, I feel that that's God's will for my life, because that is beyond greater than anything I had imagined. I was back and forth between a farm or a lake house, one of the two. Never did I ever imagine that I could have both. And I said, that's it. That's God's will. I didn't ask God, just pray about it, just did that. I just took it as that's God's will, that it was, because that's how God works sometimes. And so then Daddy calls me a few minutes later and says, hey, you really need to go look at this. He said, that's a nice house. And 8 acres, said, a lot closer to town and all. Said, you ain't way down far from town and everywhere. And I said, you really need to go look at that? I said, I don't know. I said, I really like it 25 acres. I said, well, we might go look at it. So I laid around, I was thinking, and I said, God, what do you want me to do? I prayed for 9 years, and I said, I thought this was your will to have it land on the river. Now I don't know what to do. Now I'm at square one again. I said, what do I need to do, God? I said, I want what I prayed for all these years. I want your will in my life and where you want me to live. And he said, go look at the house. And so I told Cricket, I said, hey, call real estate agents, go look at the house. I said, I don't know. I said, I'll go look at it just because y'all want me to, but I ain't really going to entertain it too much because I really want this 25 acres on the river. Well, we'll go look at it. So she called a real estate agent and she said, I'm in penalty to leave my house. Said there's 4 offers already been put in on this property. There's 3 people looking at it right now as we speak. And said, you'll be number 4 that looks at it today if you come. She said, but if you want to look at it, meet me there in 45 minutes. We said, yes, ma'am, we'll do it. So we go over there. We had to wait on the 3 people to get out of the house that was looking at it before we could look at it. We was walking around the yard. They left, so we told them, we go in, we look at it. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we go in, look at it, we leave, come back over here to the house, pull up the driveway, and nobody even opened the door of the car. And she said, she's going to make, the real estate agent told us that she's going to make a decision at 5 o'clock this evening. By the time we get back to the house, it's 3 o'clock. So we got 2 hours to decide if we're going to buy this house or not. And don't even know if we put an offer in if we don't get it. And we pulled up the yard, didn't even open the door of the car. I said, babe, what do you want to do? And she said, man, I love it. She said, I think it's awesome. She said, I think that's what we need to do. I think that's what God wants to do. And I said, I don't know. I said, I really think his will still that 25 acres and that nobody down there. Because that's greater than what we even imagine. I said, over there, we got a lot of house, but we got 8 acres. We don't have no pond. We don't have no creek. We don't have no water. We don't have, 8 acres, even that, we have to fence the whole front yard and have more. I said, I don't know. I don't know. And she said, well, I think that's what we need to do. And I prayed right there in the driver's seat of the car. And I said, God, I said, here again, I said, I really don't know what to do. I don't know. I don't want to make a decision that is this great of a decision in my life. And I don't know. I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? What is your will in my life? And he said, put offering on that house with this much money. Cash money, no financing, just power search, and it's yours. He said, do it. And so I turned and looked at the tree. I said, call the real estate agent, tell her to write a contract up, do it, we'll sign it. I'm just being honest with you. I feel this one do it. I'm just being true. I still did not want to do it. But my wife and everybody, my kids were excited. And they were jumping for joy. It was just unbelievable. But I wasn't. I'm just being real with you. But I did. I said, do it. So she called us at 5:30 and said, the house is yours. And I still didn't believe it. I wasn't excited. I wasn't happy. I wasn't jumping for joy like my wife and kids were. I wasn't ecstatic about the most major purchase of my life. That's just the truth. And so we closed 2 weeks later, went to Double Oak Mountain and closed this real estate agent office. And come home, got the keys, we moved in. The whole time, I'm jumping the creek, cutting up. I said, look, I'm almost 76 right. That I ain't got no lake fish on mountain. That I done bought this log house for 8 acres. Ain't got a mud puddle in the driveway fishing. I'm almost done. We should have bought that house if that's what you feel. We should have just bought that stuff by 25 acres. And I jabbed on my wife for 6 weeks. Well, why did you buy it if you ain't happy? Why did you buy it if that's not what you wanted? Why did you buy it? Because I was jabbing on her about all these things, I could be sitting down on the pier watching the water, but I ain't got a mud puddle in the yard. And one day, Cricket left and went to work. I hope they do it. She left and went to work. And we got a tutor that tutors our boys 3 days a week. So she leaves a key for them to get in the house when they get off the bus. The tutor gets there and picks them up at the bus. Well, she left the key. Well, then she got to work and she got thinking about it. She said, I left the wrong key. She said, I left the key to our Schulenburg office. She called Millie. She said, Millie, you ain't going to be able to get in the house. I left the wrong key. I left the key to our Schulenburg office. And I got the house key with me. Millie said, no, Hunter used the key, got in the house. And our Schulenburg office has a commercial glass front door with a screw-in barrel lock. And our house has got a gold Chevy deadbolt doorknob. And our Schulenburg office key that God gave me when we moved in that office in 2004 fit that house. And that house was built in 2002. And I'm just telling y'all, when I moved in that double-wide over there, God had already given me that key. Before I ever looked at a real estate agent. And at that moment, I told God, I said, I'll never say another word to my wife about not being where God is. And I ain't done it. Because I know God got us where He is. And I ain't going to question about it again. But it takes that. It takes that for us to believe God's will. It takes all that. Just like Peter getting out of the boat. Before he even got out of the boat, he's seen God heal and save 5,000 people and feed them with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread the day before. And he said, is that a ghost or is that you? He still didn't believe. And it's the same way in our lives. And that's an awesome story of how God works in our life and how God can do things in our life if we allow Him to be the center of our life and for us to be in His will and for us to allow Him to guide us in what we do. And I can even give you the key to my house. But just to be honest with you, I'm going to take it back. Because I worked all my life and sacrificed time with my family. I lived in a motorhome. I lived in single wide trailers. I lived in my daddy's storage building until they kicked me out. And made me move down here. Said, I got to build a storage building there, buddy. But I worked my whole life. I ain't lived in a house since I moved out of my daddy. Until I bought that over there a couple months ago. And I worked my whole life and I worked my tail off to get it. And I sacrificed, and that's mine. So I ain't going to give you that key. But what's way greater than that, here at Christmas, This right here is your key. That cross right there, the birth of Jesus, is your key. The sacrifice he made on that cross, he didn't make it to buy a house. He made it for every one of them. And he ain't going to take it back because the purpose of the sacrifice he made was for you. I didn't sacrifice for you to get that house. But Jesus sacrificed only for each one of us. And that key is available all the time for everyone. And that's the greatest thing. That's the greatest key on this earth, is your key to salvation. But when you receive that key of salvation, then God also says he's going to give you another key. He said he's going to give you a key to a mansion in eternity that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, things that I have prepared. We can't even comprehend that. There's nothing here for us to put in our minds compared to what that is, what he's got. But we have to compare something to something. And we can't compare any of it to what he's got. There's no eye has seen what, no ear has heard what I prepared. And it says, John chapter 14, verse 1 through 4. Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God and trust also in me. There is more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, I would have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you. When everything is ready, I will come and get you, so that you will always be with me where I am, and you know the way to where I'm going. Jesus has got to come get you. God's got to come get you. We've lived on this earth however many thousands of years, billions of people. And the best thing we can do is send a conference truck to Mars, and it hit a rock named Barney, and we ain't heard from it in 2.5 years. And heaven's way further away than that. The only way is through Jesus. And the only thing I can do, I have nothing to offer nobody, but I can tell you about Jesus. And the Bible says that we're born again. We all born, ain't got no clothes on, we ain't got no teeth, we ain't got no hair. We look a lot similar. But as we grow, we all look different. Thank God, because y'all don't want to look like me. It's pretty rough life. But if you're born again, you can't be recognizable by what the person you were before you got saved. It can't be the same. And I can't play the drums enough to get heaven. I can't stand up here and there ain't nothing I can do. But except that free people. I can't do it. Ain't nothing, I ain't got nothing to offer me or nobody else. But if I accept that key, there has to be a change. And I don't want nobody to believe that anything but the fact that you have to have an anointing by God that changes your life to where you're not even recognized to the people that know you. And if you can't think back in your life and say, on October 23rd of 1991, my life changed and I ain't even recognizable as the person I was before. At 10 years old, I received Jesus Christ in my heart, and I ain't the same. I'm not recognizable as who I was before. If you can't think of that time that truly happened, I hope that you can pray and talk to God and make sure where you're at. Because I don't know where you're at. I don't know where nobody's at but myself. But I don't want nobody to think that you just utter some words and there ain't no change. Because when you receive that key, it changes your life. When you receive that key to your mansion in eternity, it changes your life. And if Jesus came, because this book right here is just a bunch of stories and words. And a lot of people could say, this is a good fairy tale. Somebody wrote a decent book, put pretty cool words in here, and just, made it sound good to some people. But Jesus came on this earth and lived a life of perfection for 33 years. And he showed us. He showed us so much so that there's nations all around this world that still celebrate Christmas. It ain't just us in the Bible Belt, Alabama. I read the other day there's 300 and something countries that celebrate Christmas in some form or fashion. Jesus came so that we couldn't say this was a fairy tale or just a bunch of words. He came and lived it and showed it. He showed us what we got to live like after that anointing, after that change, after we receive those things. And I just hope that you can look at everything and evaluate yourself and just make sure that all this other Christmas stuff we did last night, yesterday, and all this stuff we're about to go through in a little bit, that's fun and it's a lot of good to spend time with family. But the best gift you'll ever receive is Jesus Christ and the key to eternity. So the band's going to come back up. They're going to play a couple songs to finish the service. And I'm going to kneel at the cross. And I'm going to praise God for everything He's done in my life. I'm going to thank Him for giving us Jesus as a perfect sacrifice and the key to the cross and the key to our eternity. And y'all can pray for whatever it is that you need at this time. You can pray for family members. You can pray for God to work in your life and make a change in you, or whatever it is. Now, we all have things we can pray for. And I'm going to pray. If you can come pray with me, you can pray where you're at. That's all up to you. So just make sure that you got the key.
you everything. Your goodness is running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. Every breath that I am of the goodness of the goodness.
Father, we just come to you this morning, God. We just want to thank you. We want to thank you for sending your son to die on the cross for us, God, and the true meaning of Christmas and the ultimate gift that you could ever give. God, we just pray that we reevaluate our lives, God, and just really grow closer to you, God, and for those that are lost, that they receive the true gift of Christmas, God, and the purpose of all the celebrations we've done. God, we just thank you for everything that you've done for us, even though, God, we don't even deserve any of it. God, we just